All right, folks, check this out. President Obama just came off the sidelines in a recent interview and slammed Donald Trump's breaking of the law, his deployment of the military against the American people, and more in a wide-ranging interview. I think that at this moment in American history, where Trump is openly and proudly breaking the law every single day, we need all hands on deck. We need our amazing communicators like Obama to be exposing the truth about these things, and I'm so happy to see in this new interview that he did. I have a bunch of clips to show you. We'll go through all of it. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And first and foremost, let's just start here, where President Obama announced this podcast episode, saying, more than a decade ago, I sat down with Mark Marin in his garage to tape something new called a podcast, which I think is a fun story. This time he came to me to record his latest episode. We talked about the power of conviction, decency in an age of division, and the true story of America. I'll miss his voice, but I hope his legacy of deep conversation and connection will continue. A very moving statement from President Obama. But let's get into this first clip where he talks about, we don't want mass folks with machine guns patrolling our streets. We don't want trumped up charges and things like that. So take a look and let's dive in.
That's not who we are. That's not our idea of America. We don't want masked, folks with rifles and machine guns patrolling our streets.
Yeah.
We want cops on the beat who know the neighborhood and the kids around, and that's how we keep the peace around here. Yeah. We don't want kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold for doing that.
Ain't that right?
We want our court system and our Justice Department and our prosecutors to be, and our FBI to be, just playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in politics the way we've seen lately.
Ain't that true? As President Biden would say, today's Republican Party is not your father's or even your grandfather's Republican Party. It's just not, right? 20, 30 years ago, you could say to the Republicans, we don't think that the president should be helping the DOJ make charging decisions when they're considering indicting somebody. But now Donald Trump is openly calling for James Comey, for Letitia James, for other Democrats to be prosecuted, indicted, and then they do. And then the DOJ does it. And as President Obama correctly said, we would scold countries for that. I mean, we as Democrats still bring up the fact that what we're seeing right now with Trump's DOJ, that doesn't happen in America, shouldn't happen in America. It happens in dictatorships around the world. It happens in Russia, where if you dare speak against Putin, you get arrested, you get indicted for nothing. They'll make something up and a judge will rubber stamp it, and that'll be the way it is. And Putin's enemies are nowhere to be seen. But now that's happening in America, something that you used to stand against as a country. We used to be firmly against it. Now many people in the Republican Party support it. I want to move on, though, where President Obama specifically focuses on Donald Trump's violations of the law, specifically the Posse Comitatus Act, which prevents a president from deploying the military on American soil against the American people. And we all know that that's something that Donald Trump has just completely ignored. He is ripping up our Constitution right in front of our face, and many people in the MAGA cult couldn't care less because it's Trump doing it. It's not a Democrat doing it, it's Trump doing it, so they're fine with it.
When you have military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting. When you have what looks like a deliberate end run around not just a concept, but a law that's been around for a long time, Posse Comitatus, that says, you don't use our military on domestic soil unless there is an extraordinary emergency of some sort. That when you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection or
a terrorist act.
That is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Donald Trump does, especially with his invasion of blue cities, blue states, just places he doesn't like simply because they didn't vote for him. His invasion of these cities has, a bunch of reasons as to why he's doing it. None of them are good, but a bunch of reasons. The main one is weakening democracy, expanding executive power, undoubtedly. Others are retribution, targeting blue cities, blue states, blue governors, blue mayors, and things like that. Retribution, of course, but it's weakening democratic institutions, weakening guardrails so he can have more power. So later in his presidency, he could say, well, I did it once. Why can't I do it again? That's the goal of so much of what Donald Trump does. And I'm glad that President Obama is calling it out. The weakening of democratic institutions is something that doesn't get the attention that it deserves. And it's a very deliberate public effort by the Trump administration to do it. It's very, very deliberate. The final clip I want to show you is Obama pretty much just going directly in on Donald Trump, saying a lot of what I represented, a lot of what Michelle and I tried to project, the values we're thinking about America. My successor seemed to represent the opposite. So take a look at that. I think this is great.
I mean, what was unusual for me was obviously a lot of what I represented.
Yeah.
A lot of what Michelle and I had tried to project, the values are thinking about America.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My successor seemed to represent the opposite.
Right.
Not seemed, did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I think there was a lot of anger, a lot of sadness,
Yeah.
some fear among a big chunk of the country.
Whenever I see clips of President Obama speak or President Biden or these really high-ranking Democratic officials, it always is just so remarkable how well they communicate. But then I just think about the side-by-side of like President Obama versus Trump. When Trump speaks, it sounds like he's gargling marbles. It sounds like he's just taking random words out of a hat, putting it together, and hoping the sentence makes sense. He has no idea what he's talking about, and you can tell. He's not very good at covering that up. Whereas President Obama, you can tell that he thinks about these issues. There's some critical thinking behind what he's saying. He cares about what he's saying. He cares about this country. I mean, it's night and day, and it's so comical, but also sad when I see Republicans say, oh, Trump is a straight talker. He really tells it like it is. He's a good speaker. And then they simultaneously bash Obama saying, oh, he's fake. He's all this crap. And I know, I'm just going to get ahead of the curve here, that Republicans will claim that Obama's being divisive in this interview. Matter of fact, that literally happened today with Scott Jennings on CNN saying Obama is the most hyper-partisan post-president we've ever had. And my friend Adam Mockler correctly pointed out that Trump literally posted an AI image of Obama getting arrested. I have that video for you here just as a refresher. You remember this? Remember this? This is posted on Trump's official Truth Social page. The FBI coming into the Oval Office and arresting President Obama. And look, he loves it. He's laughing in the AI image, and he posted it to brag about it. That's Donald Trump. So please, these Republicans who I already know are saying, oh, it's so mean and so divisive of Obama, like Scott Jennings, get with the program. Get over yourselves. You know you're lying. You know deep down you're lying. I know you know. But look, anyway, I will leave the video there. I just wanted to show you President Obama's fantastic conversation in this podcast. I loved his message here as well from Mark. But I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.